future Project Warp Speed. Is it your intent to go in and do something that's never been done before based on my staff's research and insert yourself in a discussion that the scientists are dealing with in those different agencies?
My bad, y'all. YouTube messing with my stream, but I'm back, so here we go. Let's go.
No, Senator, what I want to do is, I'm not a scientist. I want to empower scientists. I want to make sure that science is unobstructed by vested or economic interests.
That's good.
Or by bad culture. And I'll just say about Operation Warp Speed, it was an extraordinary accomplishment, demonstration of leadership by President Trump. When he promoted Operation Warp Speed, he was looking at all of the different remedies, including vaccines.
Therapeutics, everything.
Therapeutic, ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, famotidine, even chlorine dioxide. And he was not looking at shutting down our country for the year, forcing people to wear masks for a year, forcing all social distancing that did not have any scientific basis, which Dr. Fauci has now acknowledged. He said, we took it out of thin air. But all of those changed during the Biden administration. And it became very narrowly focused. We ended up with the worst, the highest death count of any country in the world.
Mr. Chair, if I can just ask one final question, and I think it's a one-word answer. I've heard a lot of people complaining about health care delivery, Medicaid, on the other side of the dais here. Who's been responsible for health care policies over the last 4 years?
The Biden administration.
I mean the president, the Biden, okay.
Yeah.
So that I'd like to have heard more of those in oversight hearings over the last 4 years. I haven't, but I'm glad that there's an acknowledgement that you're inheriting a problem that needs to be fixed. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator.
Senator Sanders.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Kennedy, thanks for being with us. I very much like the slogan that you coined, Make America Healthy Again. And I strongly agree with that effort. Despite spending, as you indicated, 2 or 3 times as much per capita on healthcare as other nations, we have 85 million people who are uninsured, underinsured. We have all kinds of chronic illnesses. Our life expectancy is lower than other countries. And for working class people in this country, they are living 6, 7 years shorter lives than the top 1%. We got a problem, okay? And I'm gonna suggest some ideas that I think can remedy that. Last year, the insurance industry in this country made over $70 billion, while at the same time, 85 million Americans are uninsured or underinsured. Do you agree with me that the United States should join every other major country on earth and guarantee health care to all people as a human right? Yes? No?
Senator, I can't give you a yes or no answer to that question.
Health care a human right? Is health care a human right?
In the way that free speech is a human right,
Yeah.
I would say it's different because with free speech doesn't cost anybody anything, but in healthcare, if you smoke cigarettes for 20 years and you get cancer, you are now taking from the pool. Well, and so are you guaranteed the same right, or is there also a duty?
I'm sorry, I'd love to talk for an hour with you. We got a few minutes left here. All right. Every other country on earth says healthcare, whether you're poor or rich, young or old, is a human right. I'm not hearing you say that. All right, you've talked about the drug companies, and maybe we agree on this one. As you all know, despite the drug companies making over $100 billion in profits, paying CEOs outrageous compensation packages, we, in some cases, pay 10 times more for the same drug. Will you support legislation that I will introduce which says that in America we should not be paying a nickel more for prescription drugs than people around the rest of the world? Yes, no?
To equalize it?
Not to equalize it, that we should not be paying more than other countries for the same damn drug.
President Trump has asked me, in fact, I had a meeting with President Trump a week ago where we showed him the charts.
He knows the charts.
We're paying 10 times more from Europe.
That's right. And are you going to commit to us that you will end that absurdity?
I think in principle we can. We should end that disparity.
Good, okay, that's great, all right. I happen to believe that climate change is real, it's an existential threat, and it is a healthcare issue. Donald Trump thinks that it is a hoax originating in China. Question is, in your judgment, is climate change a hoax or is it real, causing devastating problems?
President Trump and I, from the beginning, from our first meeting, agreed to disagree on that issue. I believe climate change is existential. My job is to make Americans healthy again.
All right, you believe that, all right,
is
you
what
think,
I'm-
that you disagree with Trump, you don't think climate change is a hoax, is what I'm hearing.
my job here is to
I'm
make
just asking you that,
Americans
Mr. Kennedy, not a trick question.
healthy. I answered your question, Senator
Okay,
Sanders.
you disagree with the president on that.
I answered your question.
Okay. I'm going to pick up on a point that Senator Hassan made. Look, there is no question that abortion is a divisive issue in this country. I would say a majority of the people are pro-choice. There's a strong minority who are pro-life. A year and a half ago, you went to New Hampshire, running for president, gave a speech, and you talked about government should not tell a woman what she can do with her own body. That's her choice. Now, I think everybody on that side is pro-life. I think everybody here is pro-choice. I have never seen any major politician flip on that issue quite as quickly as you did when Trump asked you to become HHS secretary. Tell me why you think people should have confidence in your consistency and in your word when you really made a major U-turn on an issue of that importance in such a short time.
Senator, I believe, and I've always believed, that every abortion is a tragedy.
But you
I don't-
told the people in New Hampshire that it was their right. All right, let me do a last question here because I'm running out of time. I think the gist of what you're trying to say today is you're really pro-vaccine, you want to ask questions. You have started a group called the Children's Health Defense. You're the originator. Right now, as I understand it, on their website, they are selling what's called onesies. These are little things, clothing for babies. One of them is titled Unvaxxed, Unafraid. Next one, and they're sold for $26 a piece, by the way. Next one is No Vax, No Problem. Now, you're coming before this committee and you say you're pro-vaccine. Just want to ask some questions. And yet your organization is making money selling a child's product to parents for $26, which casts fundamental doubt on the usefulness of vaccines. Can you tell us now that you will, now that you are pro-vaccine, that you're going to have your organization take these products off the market?
Senator, I have no power over that organization. I'm not part of it. I resigned from the board.
Yeah, that was just a few
Leadership.
months ago. You founded that. You certainly have power. You can make that call. Are you supportive of this?
I've had nothing to do with
Are you
leadership.
supportive of these onesies?
I'm supportive of vaccines.
Are you supportive of this clothing, which is militantly anti-vaccine?
I am supportive of vaccines. I will. I want good science, and I want to protect.
But you will
vaccines.
not tell the organization you founded not to continue selling that product. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Blackburn.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman, and thank you so much for being
They
with
be
us
on him,
today.
man.
And I have no doubt that you will be confirmed and you are going to do such a solid job for the people of this country. And I do have several issues I wanted to talk with you about and didn't have time to cover them all when we met prior to the meeting, but rural health care is very important to me and the people of Tennessee. 78 of our 95 counties are rural counties. Now, over the last few years, we've seen hospital closures. So we have focused on access in rural areas. And my rural health agenda, which is bipartisan, focuses on innovation, telehealth, access points. It focuses on work shortages And also, Senator Warner and I have together focused on making certain that we address the area wage index and do that fairly for our citizens that are in rural communities. So I would like a commitment from you that when confirmed, you and your CMS administrator will work with us to make certain that the area wage index is balanced and that it is fair to rural areas.
Senator, both Dr. Oz and myself recognize that rural health care is in crisis in this country, and that is catastrophic for our entire country. And I talked a little bit about my commitment to rural health earlier in this hearing. The regional price points, as you know, are set by Congress and not by HHS. I will
CMS.
certainly, and I know Dr. Oz will certainly work with you to
Thank
make
you.
them sensible.
We look forward to that. Also, you and I, before you came forward as the secretary, the nominee, we had talked in years past about over-medicating youth and concerns over that. And I was looking at a report from TennCare, which is our Medicaid program in Tennessee. And I was concerned when I saw a number that TennCare had spent $90 million in 2024 alone on ADHD. This was 417,000 of our children. And $90 million. To me, that is heartbreaking, what is happening there. So how will you prioritize oversight of prescribing practices while promoting alternative solutions such as counseling, behavioral therapies, community-based interventions for our youth?
Exactly, and that's the solution. 15% of American youth are now on Adderall or some other ADHD medication. Even higher percentages are on SSRIs and benzos. We are not just over-medicating our children, we're over-medicating our entire population. Half the pharmaceutical drugs on earth are now sold here. 70% of the profits from pharmaceutical companies are from the United States, even though we only have 4.2% of the world's population. Not only that, but a recent study by Cochrane Collaboration founder Peter Ghosh found that pharmaceutical drugs are the third largest cause of death in our country after heart attacks and cancers. Oh, they're not making us healthier. We need community health initiatives. We need access to treatment. We need exercise. We need better food.
Okay, let me talk to you about one of those access points in treatment. And this highlights a problem we have in the federal Medicaid law. Since Medicaid's enactment, states have been prohibited from using Medicaid funds for care provided by institutions for mental disease. We refer to them as IMDs. These are psychiatric hospitals, residential treatment facilities with more than 16 beds. This is a discriminatory exclusion, and it denies payment for medically necessary care based on the illness that is being treated, and it has perpetuated unequal coverage in mental health care. So if you're confirmed, when you're confirmed, will you commit to working with me on repealing this discriminatory exclusion and ensuring equal access to mental health care for Medicaid beneficiaries?
Yes, Senator.
Thank you so much. I've got a question on PBM reform, one on artificial intelligence in healthcare. In the interest of time, I will yield back. I look forward to seeing you help make us healthy again.
Thank you, Senator.
Y'all leave RFK voice alone, man. He gonna make a great pick, I think, man. He damn sure look better than the last HSS person. So y'all leave Kennedy alone, man.
Senator Lujan.
What? No, you're next. I'm next.
Excuse me, just, I made a mistake. It's Senator Cantwell.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and just congratulations on your nomination, Mr. Kennedy. And I've been absent only because I've been in another hearing with the nominee to be the Commerce Secretary. So I will review everything that you've said today and look at that diligently. But one of the things that I wanted to discuss with you is I represent a very big innovation state. And innovation in healthcare specifically. Innovation like NIH funding to the Fred Hutch Cancer Center that helped develop the HPV vaccine, which has the potential to eliminate over 95% of cervical cancer. NIH also funds a lot of jobs and grants, nearly 11,000 people in the state of Washington and over $1.2 billion worth of grants. So while I agree with you on healthy foods, I definitely am troubled by the medical research side of innovation and some of the things that you have said. In fact, this issue about laying off 600 employees at NIH, or giving the fact that, to quote, give infectious disease a break for 8 years. So we've had a chance to talk about this a little bit, but the most striking example of this is when COVID hit. And we were the first in the nation. We had the first case, and it really was the fast response by the University of Washington that really helped save lives. So I just want to know that, are you aware of how harmful these issues could be for public health? That public health in and of itself could be affected by these kind of anti-science views?
Senator, I have always been a science person, a pro-science person. I believe in evidence-based medicine and gold standard science. When I said, and I've explained this before you came in, that 600 people out of a workforce of 91,000 is pretty typical. Last year alone, President Biden replaced 3,000 people at HHS and 700 at NIH. I want to say this. I said give infectious disease a break because that's been the principal preoccupation. Infectious disease, chronic disease is 92%, accounts for 92% of deaths in this country, and almost nothing is studied at NIH about the etiology of our chronic disease epidemic.
But right now,
The money is going to infectious disease.
but
And
I get your point. It's an interesting point. The problem is we had to respond, and it's actually the Gates Foundation and a flu cohort that figured out what was wrong, and that we had an outbreak of COVID that was going beyond the very first case. And so we had to build a very fast response. So I take this too. The University of Washington has conducted groundbreaking stem cell research on fetal tissue. To me, I know there's probably a lot of people that may not agree with this, but we're making regenerative heart tissue now at the University of Washington. So yes or no, do you commit to protecting stem cell research for scientific agencies if confirmed?
I will protect stem cell research. Stem cell research today can be done on umbilical cords, and you don't need fetal tissue.
You'll protect the laws that are on the books today and the research that's done.
My job is, Senator, to enforce the laws.
Okay, so I want to move to PBMs because PBMs are driving up drug prices. And one of the biggest things that we need to do here, I think, in a new administration is get a handle on everything that is driving up prices and lower them. The report found that PBMs generated $1.4 billion from spread pricing. That is where they are able to basically set the price, not reimburse pharmacies, and then pocket the rest. We've had bipartisan legislation in several different committees now to get at this. What do you think the solution is?
I think one of the really notable achievements of this panel was the PBM legislation that they put together in a bipartisan way. I haven't met a single senator, well, actually one only, but of the 60-odd senators that I talked to, all of them talked about PBMs and how important it was, and President Trump, during his first administration, pushed through a law or pushed a law to give transparency to PBMs. It got overruled during the Biden administration. Luckily, this panel is resuscitating that. President Trump is absolutely committed to fixing the PBMs.
My time is running out, so I just want to clarify. You believe that we should pass these laws that now have been proposed in the Senate?
I haven't read the entire law, so I don't know, but I think that we need to reform the PBMs. I think we need
But,
to
somebody
get rid of all of these vested interests that are draining money from the system.
Okay, somebody suggested, though, that you thought you should convene the PBMs and talk to them about some sort of self-regulation. So I am trying to distinguish between these people who basically are doing illegal activities and ripping off, really, they're creating pharmacy deserts in my state. So I'm asking you whether you believe that we have to legislate in this area.
Again, I'm not being evasive. I just don't know exactly what the law says. I met with the PBMs. I met with pharma. My job is to meet with all the stakeholders. I've been meeting with stakeholders for 40 years. People I was suing, you want to hear from the other side.
Well, it's
That doesn't
okay.
mean I would let the PBMs write their own ticket.
I think
I support the efforts of this committee to come up with bipartisan legislation. President Trump wants to get the excess profits away from the PBMs and send it back to primary care, to patients in this country, to high-quality health care.
I'll ask you for the record, since my time's expired, to look at the legislation that came out of the Commerce Committee that defines the legal activities that they are doing to drive up prices, and get us an answer for the record. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
In principle, I support that legislation.
Thank you, and let me just tell you the list as we have to move forward to the ending here. Senator Lujan will be next, followed by Senator Marshall, Senator Warnock, Senator Smith, Senator Young, and Senator Welch.
And let me say again, Mr. Chairman, this is a matter of such importance. A number of my colleagues would like a second round, and I think it would be important to offer, say, a modest amount of additional time to get into this on both sides. I know I have some questions, but I want my colleagues to have the opportunity to raise their concerns as well.
Well,
I'm looking at the poll, man. Say, is he a good pick? Right now, it's yes, it's 59%. The no's is 41%, man. Because it's looking pretty tough, man. They are grilling RFK Jr., man. It seemed like he holding his own. And man, I don't know, man. This is gonna be a tough one.
Well, I've said, as I have indicated to you, Senator Wyden, I'm not going to do a second round. I have been very generous with the senators. I think almost every single senator has had 7 minutes at least. And I will give you a second, as is our practice
I think
between the two of
I'll
us.
then divide my time up with my colleagues. I'll be
Okay,
even
you are
briefer.
welcome to do that.
Thank you.
Senator Lujan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Kennedy, when we met, you stated to me that it is not your goal to take away programs that work for Americans. Do you stand by that statement?
Yes, Senator.
Mr. Kennedy, do you know how many Americans rely on Medicaid?
It's about 72 million plus the 7 million kids who are on chips.
Appreciate that, 72 million. Yes or no, is it important that expectant mothers and newborns have access to health coverage? Is it important that expectant mothers and newborns have access to health coverage?
Absolutely, Senator.
Mr. Kennedy, do you know how many babies born in this country are covered through Medicaid?
I would guess, I don't know the answer, I would guess about 30 million.
I have it, Mr. Kennedy. About 41% or 1.4 million babies, births are financed by Medicaid, according to the National Center for Health Statistics. Yes or no, do you believe that Medicaid is a critical program?
I believe that Medicaid is a critical program, but that it's not working as well as it ought to be. And President Trump has asked me to make it work better, that most Americans are not happy with it, that the premiums are too high, the deductibles are too high. and everybody's getting sicker. Too much money is going to
Mr.
the
Kennedy?
insurance industry.
I have a series of yes or no questions. They're pretty simple. Because you heard we're not going to get a second round of questions, I ask for your indulgence to be able to get through them yes or no. In New Mexico, as you know, Medicaid is often measured state by state. It might surprise you if you look at some of those surveys. In New Mexico, the response was 90% of New Mexicans on Medicaid report satisfaction getting care, 80% getting specialist care, 85% getting urgent care, 95% ease of filings out of focus. Not to pick on any one of my colleagues, but in Louisiana, 86% of people on Medicaid are satisfied with their interactions. 83% are satisfied getting care. 85% are satisfied getting specialized care. 82% getting urgent care. I can go on state by state, but we don't have the time today. Yes or no, do you support cutting Medicaid or reducing, and especially in an area where you and I spoke about with the federal investment in Medicaid, which is known as FMAP?
President Trump has not told me to that he wants to cut Medicaid. He's told me to make it better.
Do you support cutting, yes or no? Let me ask you this way, since it's only about
I
President
support
Trump.
making it better, Senator.
If President Trump asked you to cut Medicaid, will you do it?
Well, it's not up to me to cut Medicaid. It would be up to Congress. And
You don't want
I'm
to
going to
answer?
work.
Good
I'm gonna
answer.
work,
Mr. Kennedy,
Senator.
Mr. Kennedy, you don't want to answer? I'll move on. Do you know how many states will end? Mr. Chairman, if I may pause my time. So I understand that people are getting asked to leave if they stand up with signs, but there's a lot of other as well, Mr. Chairman. So it needs to be extended to everyone. As Mr. Kennedy said, we should respect each other when we have a difference of opinion. We're just trying to do our jobs here and trying to ask questions. That's all. And that's all I'm doing with Mr. Kennedy, folks. So I just
Senator
hope that we can do
Senator
that.
Lujan, you are right, and I ask the audience to please be respectful.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate that very much. Mr. Kennedy, do you know how many states will end their Medicaid expansion if the federal share of Medicaid drops?
Well, there's 40 states that have signed on to the expansion. So,
It's a smaller number. So it's 9 states would quickly have to end their expansion because of the laws that they have. That's about 4 million folks across the country. And in New Mexico, Iowa, and Idaho, they have triggers that it would immediately have to go into effect if in fact that gets cut. The reason I'm asking those questions is there's been a lot of chatter and conversations around Medicaid. Now, I agree we can always do better, and we must be doing better in America. But Medicaid has been shown to improve health outcomes, including mortality, quality of life, and access to preventative care as well. And there's some areas, Mr. Kennedy, that you and I touched on specific to Native American communities. One of the concerns that I have are these programs matter to folks. You shared your passion about caring for folks. I believed that passion. My question in this area is, as you know, when folks are doing research and they're going to check to see if medicine works on someone, if they're not included in that trial, it often doesn't help them. That's what all the evidence shows. So what are you going to do when programs are eliminated to require the inclusion of Native Americans in clinical trials when it comes to life-saving medicine?
I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that there's Native Americans in clinical trials. As I said to you when I visited your office, I spent 20% of my career working on Native issues. My family's been deeply involved with them. My father and uncle were big critics of the Indian Health Service, a failure to deliver good health results or health care on the reservations. I'm going to bring a Native in for the first time in history into my central office, that all the major decisions in my office will be that he will have it. We've already interviewed candidate, a very, very good candidate, will have direct impact on all the major offices. One of my priorities is
You
to
know,
improve.
I appreciate that. I have a follow-up in that space specifically. Will you commit to finalizing the congressionally mandated FDA guidance to increase clinical trial diversity?
Just repeat that again, I'm sorry,
Will you
Senator.
commit to finalizing the congressionally mandated FDA guidance to increasing clinical trial diversity?
Yes.
I appreciate that. Will you commit to reinstating all of the pages that were eliminated and people that were fired from this administration that have this responsibility?
I cannot commit to that because I don't know who they are.
Well, there's
I'll
some
commit
folks
to
out there doing the
working
work.
with you to make
Mr.
sure
Kennedy,
those positions are adequately staffed.
I will follow up in writing in those specific areas because I think there's some commonality here, but answers matter. And so I'd like to get those as timely as possible. The last thing, Mr. Chairman, that I'll say is one of the conversations I had last before this hearing was with a family that I've been working with to work with my Republican colleagues when it comes to autism and federal programs and making a difference in these families' lives and this little girl's life. What I'm asking now, Mr. Chairman, is unanimous consent to enter into the record an article from Autism Speaks titled, quote, "Do Vaccines Cause Autism?" End quote. And I'll note that the first sentence states, quote, "Vaccines do not cause autism," end quote. Thank you. I yield back.
Without objection. And before we move on, we've had a request from several quarters for a quick restroom break. We will take a 5-minute recess. I'm sorry to those remaining 5 or 6 senators who must wait a few minutes, but we will have a quick break. We will be back as soon as we can.
Hey, man, they loving Kennedy in there, man. They grilling him. They doing everything they can to make this man break, but he's standing firm, man. You know what I'm saying? This is a tough job. It's going to be a lot of big decisions to make and all those different things, man. But Kennedy, man, he's standing up. He's standing up for what he believe in. He was a long life Democrat. Now he's in the middle. You know what I'm saying? His family mad at him and all that stuff. But hey, man, it's a tough job. And man, look, I think he's gonna make a great HH director, man. I'm telling you. The man's in shape. He looked better, totally better than the last lady that was up there. You know what I'm saying? So everybody in the chats, man, y'all hit that subscribe button, man. Hit the double tap the screen, get your boy likes up. Share the video if you can, the live. They taking a little break, but I'm streaming a little bit behind it, so fortunately, I can skip the break. So yeah, man, I appreciate y'all for coming in, man, and watching this this crucial Senate hearing, confirmation hearing with RFK. And I hope y'all having a great day, man. Y'all blessed, families in good health. You know, everything you're doing today, man, may God seek you through it, protect you. You know what I'm saying? America first, man. That's what it's about. So we're going to skip to it. Get back to it. I appreciate y'all, man.
Thank you, Chairman. Obesity, diabetes, heart disease. Obesity, diabetes, heart disease account for probably 80% of health challenges in America. You know how many times I heard my friends across the aisle mention any 3 of those? I don't know if we've lost the forest for the trees here. Vaccine is a critical issue. I understand that. I don't see how Mr. Kennedy's position could be any more clear that he's going to support the vaccines, he's going to support the science and empowerment to parents and their doctors to make these choices. 60% of Americans have a chronic disease, that there's an epidemic of chronic diseases across the country. And this Make America Healthy Again movement is palpable to me. It started on the campaign trail in 2020 when moms I'd never met, that never involved in the political process, came up to me and said, look, I want to make these choices about my children with my doctor, not the federal government. that it's a very real thing. Moms, dads, grandparents across the country grab me and say, look, why do 20% of our children now, why are they on a prescription drug? So, Mr. Kennedy, what is your prescription to help make America healthy again? What's your vision? What does that look like to you?
Thank you, Senator Marshall. We're having epidemics of all these chronic illnesses, autoimmune diseases, neurological diseases, allergic diseases, obesity. When my uncle was president, 3% of Americans were obese. Today, 74% of Americans are obese or overweight. No other country has anything like this. In Japan, the obesity rate is still 3%. And epidemics are not caused by genes. Genes may provide the vulnerability, but you need an environmental toxin. Something is poisoning the American people. And we know that the primary culprits are changing food supply, the switch to highly chemical intensive processed foods. We have 10,000 ingredients in our country, in our foods. The Europeans have only 400. If you buy McDonald's French fries in our country, there's 11 ingredients, my understanding. In Europe, there's only 3. If you buy Fruit Loops in our country, they're loaded with food dyes, with yellow dye, red dye, blue dye, and many other ingredients. The same company makes the same product with different ingredients for Canada and Europe. And at age, we don't have good science on all these things. And that is deliberate. That's a deliberate choice not to study the things that are truly making us sick, that are not only contributing to chronic disease, but to mortalities from infectious disease. We need to get a handle on this, because if we don't, it's an existential threat. Our country is not going to be destroyed because we get the marginal tax rate wrong, or because we get one of these culture war issues that we've been talking about today wrong. It's going to be destroyed if we continue down this trajectory of chronic disease. We need to fix our food supply, and that's the number one.
Thank you, Mr. Kennedy. Certainly, I share your concern with ultra-processed foods. On the other end of this food chain are my farmers and ranchers back home. Would you just take a second and share your compassion, how you feel about farmers and ranchers, that they respond to the market? They don't dictate the market. They grow what the market is wanting them to grow.
And Senator Hawley told me the other day that his brother-in-laws are all farmers. And he said 4 out of every 5 of his brother-in-laws has Parkinson's disease. And that kind of cluster we're seeing across farm country of cancers, autoimmune diseases, obesity, et cetera. Oh, and we can now not export American food to Europe because the Europeans won't take our food. That's not good for farmers. We're also destroying our soil because some of the chemicals that farmers use destroy the microbiome, and that causes the erosion of the soil. You can't get water infiltration. Water pools up and it washes the soil off. Agronomists now estimate that we only have, if we continue doing these processes, only 60 harvests left before our soil is gone. Farmers are using seeds and chemicals that are, over the long term, are costing them and us. And what we need to do is we need to support the farmers. We need the farmers as partners if we're going to make them work. And I don't want a single farmer to go out of business under our watch. I don't regulate farms. If I'm privileged to be confirmed, I'm not regulating farms. That's under USDA. But I want to partner with all of my decisions with USDA and with the farm community to make sure that we don't lose more farmers in this country, but that we also transition. We offer and incentivize transitions to regenerative agriculture, to to no-till agriculture and to less chemically intensive. And by the way, I've also met with the chemical industry and the fertilizer and herbicide companies, and they want to do the same thing. Oh, and I think we're on the trajectory to do that, and we need to incentivize initiatives to accelerate that trajectory.
Mr. Chairman, if I could, the great news is that my farmers in Kansas are selling products to Europe, that today's regenerative practices, soil health, all those things are priorities for Kansas farmers. Many of us are doing many of those things already. We just need it to be more widespread. If I could just wrap up my remarks, though, is that, again, going back to the big picture here, 60% of Americans have a chronic disease. Mr. Kennedy, I believe for such a time as this that you're not just one of 300 million people. I think that you are the person to lead HHS to make America healthy again, that God has a divine purpose for you, and I look forward to your confirmation and working with you to make America healthy again.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you. Senator Warner.
Not everybody hating on him.
Thank you so much, Chairman Crapo and Ranking Member Wyden. It's great to be here. Mr. Kennedy, welcome. Welcome to you and to your family. Thank you for meeting with me a few days ago. I'd like to follow up, if I might, with some of the issues that we discussed in my office. I want to talk to you first about the CDC, or the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. I'm proud of the work that the CDC does, proud that it's located in Georgia with more than 10,000 employees in my state. If confirmed, you would be the cabinet secretary over the CDC, representing HHS. It's about 29% of the federal budget. CDC is a part of that. Do you agree that the CDC's work is critical to Georgia, critical for our country, and the health of the entire world?
B.
Yes,
Perez,
Senator.
right.
Senator Isaacson, my Republican predecessor, would have agreed with that. Bless his memory. He was a fierce advocate for the CDC, as am I. The CDC is an agency filled with hard-working, dedicated public health servants. They wake up every single day working to keep us safe. I think we don't think often enough about their work, because it's easy not to celebrate the folks who are protecting you from that which doesn't appear because of the work that they're doing. So grateful for the work that the CDC employees do. Some of them are members of my church. I saw that deep commitment firsthand when I visited the CDC just last summer. Mr. Kennedy, you have compared the CDC's work to Nazi death camps. You've compared it to sexual abusers in the Catholic Church. You've also said that many of them belong, this is a direct quote, many of them belong in jail. For me, those are disturbing characterizations of the CDC workers that I know who are trying to keep the American public safe every single day. And as you are presented as the nominee for this position, I need to know, do you stand by those statements that you made in the past, or do you retract those previous statements?
Senator, I don't believe that I ever compared the CDC to Nazi death camps. I support the CDC. My job is not to dismantle or harm the CDC. My job is to empower the scientists, if I'm privileged to be confirmed.
So you retract those statements?
I'm not retracting it. I never said it.
Well, actually, I have a transcript.
Of me saying that it's a
Yeah,
Nazi death camp?
Let me read your words. It says that the institution, CDC, and the vaccine program, is your description of their work, is more important than the children that it's supposed to protect. And you know, it's the same reason we had a pedophile scandal in the Catholic Church. It's because people were able to convince themselves that the institution of the church was more important than these little boys and girls who were being raped. That's pretty provocative language. You said in another statement to me, this is like Nazi death camp. I mean,
let
me finish. I'm just reading your words. I mean, what happened to these kids 1 in 31 boys in this country, their minds are being robbed from them.
Yeah, I was not comparing the CDC to Nazi death camps. I was comparing the injury rate to our children to other atrocities. And I wouldn't compare, of course, the CDC to Nazi death camps to the extent that any statement that I made has been interpreted that way. Yeah, I don't agree with that. In 2003, the United States Congress Government Oversight Committee ended an over a year investigation of the CDC and used almost that same language. They said that the CDC, just one division, one branch, the Immunization Safety Office, had put institutional self-interest and pharmaceutical profits ahead of the welfare and health of American children. So that was a conclusion by Congress. And I repeated that.
Well, I'm asking you because you're the nominee for HHS. It sounds like you stand by those statements.
Senator, my objective is to support the CDC. There's nothing I'm going to do that is going to harm CDC. I want to make sure that our science is gold standard science,
So,
and it's free from that same Government Oversight Investigation Committee found that the panels, the ACIP panel within CDC, I think 97% of the people on it had conflicts. I don't believe that that's right. I think we need to end those conflicts and make sure that scientists are doing unobstructed science.
so I want to enter this statement, by the way, into the record without objection.
Without objection.
Last week, the White House gagged HHS and the CDC, preventing them from communicating all important public health information to anyone, including all of our allies, including our allies in the United States and global disease prevention. Can you just answer yes or no, because I'm running out of time? Do you agree with that action?
I was not consulted on it, but that's pretty much standard
I'm asking
operating
you,
procedure for incoming administration.
So you agree with the action that gagged HHS and CDC from communicating important public health information to the
That
public?
directive made sure that no
You said,
public health, that only non-essential travel and mass communications were temporarily suspended pending the confirmation of a new HHS secretary. This is standard operating procedure for every administration.
I get it. I don't think what we've seen over the last several days is standard operation for new administration. I think we're seeing some unprecedented actions, but you agree with it. Last night, members of the CDC, along with other federal employees, were actually invited to resign, these buyouts. And I got text messages and folks I know who work from the CDC, for the CDC, that do this important work, who got that note. And it's really important because my experience is that when you send out that kind of note, the folks who resign are the folks who you least likely want to see resign. They got other options. They're gifted folks. They got a lot of expertise. They have options. A lot of them are doing this work because of their patriotism, because of their commitment. Do you agree with the buyouts that were presented to CDC employees just last night?
I agree. At the vast majority of the scientists and experts at CDC are patriots and good government servants.
Can you tell me yes or no?
I don't think anybody's going to resign who's committed to making America healthy again.
Can you just answer yes? Okay, you agree with the buyouts. In our meeting, I asked you to confirm your support for the Affordable Care Act. You also mentioned that you and President Trump want to fix the ACA by making premiums more affordable. Can you answer me yes or no, as I don't have a lot of time? Did you know that tax credits that help families afford health insurance and save Georgians an average of $531 per month per person are set to expire at the end of the year? Did you know that?
I do.
We need to move on.
Do you support Congress extending these tax credits? so that Americans can continue to afford health care?
Uh-oh, that's a
Congress
big
has to make its own decisions about that. My instructions from
Mr.
President
Chairman,
Trump
you're saying I'm running
is
out
to
of time,
make
but
the-
I'm having a lot of trouble getting the witness to answer yes or no to a yes or no question. And I've
Well,
got one more question.
you're almost at 9 minutes, sir.
Well, I need him to answer yes or no. Yes or no? Do you
I'm not going
support?
to answer yes or no to a question that's not susceptible to an honest yes or no answer.
9 minutes to ask a damn question. Let the man answer the damn question. Damn.
I can't
We
get an
need to
answer.
move on.
I think that the fact that you find it difficult to answer basic questions is deeply troubling for me as you present yourself as a nominee to run HHS. Thank you so very much.
Senator Smith.
I've been in courts all over the country, and prosecutors.
Mr. Chairman, you told me I'm out of time, and the witness continues to filibuster even after I said I'm done.
Senator Smith.
Mr. Chair, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair and Ranking Member, and welcome, Mr. Kennedy.
Shout out Phoenix Fireside, my moderator. Was good. Commander Alpha Turkey, I see you. Let's go.
So, Mr. Kennedy, I don't have a question for you on abortion. I think that my colleagues on both sides of the aisle have covered this, but I want to say I can respect people who have different views than mine on this issue, but it's hard for me to respect people who won't give a straight answer to what they think on this issue in particular. Mr. Chair, I just want to note that I understand that anti-choice advocates have said that in these hearings they were looking to hear Mr. Kennedy provide some reassurance that he is on their side, and I'm not hearing that. And I think most Americans are looking for some hint that the decisions that people make about abortion should be personal and private, and they should be free to make those decisions without government interference, and I'm not hearing that either. To make it worse, the answers that you have given tell me that the Trump administration is more than willing to restrict or even ban medication abortion without a single act of Congress, and even in states where abortion is legal. And what is clear to me is that you and President Trump are dangerous to women's access to mifepristone. So having said that, I want to move to a different topic. Mr. Kennedy, I appreciate Senator Cornyn's questions about mental and behavioral health, something that I care a lot about. I know that you and your family have had personal experience with mental health challenges, as have I. And I agree that the mental health crisis in this country is a crisis. So let me ask you, in an interview in 2023 and again in 2024, you blamed school shootings on antidepressants. You said, and this is a quote, "There is no time in American history or human history that kids were going to shoot schools and shooting their classmates. It really started happening coterminous with the introduction of these drugs, with Prozac and with other drugs." So do you believe, as you've said, that antidepressants cause school shootings? This should be a simple question.
I don't think anybody can answer that question, and I didn't answer that question. I said it
So
should be
your answer
studied.
is,
I said it should be studied along with other potential culprits
so
like
they may cause.
social media.
They-
But I don't know. I would never make, because there's no science on that,
Well,
Senator.
there is, Senator, there is, Mr. Kennedy.
Thank you for the promotion.
The science shows that there is no link between school shootings and antidepressants. And in fact, most school shooters were not even treated with antidepressants. And of those that were, there was no evidence of association. You know,
I don't think you
My
can say
question is-
that, Senator, because of HIPAA rules, nobody knows.
well, that is, Mr. Kennedy, do you think that people who take antidepressants are dangerous?
I think, listen, I'm not going into HHS if I'm privileged to be confirmed with any.
So you can't say that people
To
who.
impose any preconceived ideas that I may have. I just want to have
Okay,
good science.
So you're not saying that they aren't dangerous, which means that they could
I've
be
said-
dangerous. Let me ask you this.
That's
You've
not
just-
true.
Kennedy is not no damn doctor. Y'all ask the doctors those questions. The man just got a job. He got a job to do. He is not a doctor. He ain't there to answer your questions about drugs and all this other stuff. Let me tell it. Let the man, come on. Lord.
You've described Americans who take mental health medications as addicts who need to be sent to wellness farms to recover. Is that what you believe?
No, of course, I didn't say that
Yes, you
anybody should be compelled to do anything.
No, but
I'm
you
for-
said they should be sent. There,
I
you
said they should
described
be
folks-
available to them.
You
I
said
didn't
that-
say they should be sent.
You said that folks
Kicking and
that take
screaming.
antidepressants are like addicts. That I can provide that,
Oh, I
Mr.
think they
Chair.
should have the availability. Listen, I know people,
So-
including members of my family, who've had a much worse time getting off of SSRIs than they did than people have getting off of heroin. It's the withdrawal period is, I mean, and it's written
actually have
on the
s-
label.
I have some
This is very
experience
well
with this
documented.
myself, Mr. Kennedy. This is personal for me. When I was a young woman and I was struggling with depression, thankfully, I had the resources to help me get through it, including a new generation of SSRI uptake inhibitors, which helped to clear my mind, get me back on track to being a mom and a wife and a productive, happy person. And I'm really grateful for that therapy. So I have some experience with this, and I think that everyone should have access to that care. And your job as secretary is to expand access to care, not to spread lies and misinformation. And you know, the things that you say, Mr. Kennedy, they live on. They have impact. And you know, we're having this conversation at the same moment that my Republican colleagues are looking to try to figure out how to save money any way they can, and so they want to cut Medicaid. Let's just think about this for a minute, because you're going to be, should you be confirmed, you would be responsible for CMS, which provides mental and behavioral health care to millions of Americans. Close to 40% of folks on Medicaid have a behavioral health condition. And you would be part of this administration that would be looking to cut Medicaid. So, Mr. Kennedy, these statements that
Hold on, in the chat, somebody said, let me see, hold on, I have to pause it. Christ is the black man, say, you're right, he's not a doctor and shouldn't be ahead of our health care. Do I got to bring up Fauci? Wasn't he a doctor or a top medical person? What did he do? He had everybody running around here wearing masks and lying about where the damn China virus came from, all those different things. Millions of people died, all that stuff. So it don't matter if he's a doctor or not. He want to make America healthy again. Of course, he's going to have doctors working with him. You don't have to be a doctor to have common sense, man. This is common sense. And Fauci didn't have no damn common sense whatsoever. He had got pardoned because he know his ass was taking his ass to jail. So all that, you know what I'm saying? You don't got to be in that profession to have common sense, man. For real.
that you've made linking antidepressants to school shootings, they reinforce the stigma that people who experience mental health every day face every single day. And I'm very concerned that this is another example of your record of sharing false and misleading information that actually really hurts people.
Senator, you're
Thank you, Mr.
mischaracterizing my statements.
I am only putting into the record what you have said, Mr. Kennedy.
You're mischaracterizing my statements, and I'm happy that you had a good experience on SSRIs. Many Americans have very good experience on it. Others have
That
not.
would be an issue between them and their physicians, and not for
And
the future
exactly.
head of HHS to be just putting out misinformation
Exactly.
about the dangers of SSRIs and other antidepressant medication, spreading the stigma and the fear that we're actually trying to overcome.
Do you think physicians, when they make that prescription, ought to have access to good science?
Of course they do, and I don't
That's
think
all I
that-
believe, too. And you and I are in agreement, Senator.
And to your point that you made when you made these statements, it was not based on good science. I don't know what it was based on.
I was saying the science needed to be done. I was saying these are potential culprits. We're coterminous, and I named other things. I said video games. I said social media. I said SSRIs. SSRIs have a black box warning of suicidal, homicidal behavior.
Mr. Chair, I will submit to the chair the information that I have about what Mr. Kennedy has said, linking antidepressants to school shootings. Thank you.
Senator Young.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good to see you, Mr. Kennedy. To follow up on that spirited exchange, in talking with you and reading about your vision for the department, you said one of your goals is to return public health agencies to the gold standard of scientific review. You've alluded to the gold standard a number of times today. So I'm going to give you an opportunity, uninterrupted, but hopefully not too extensive, to tell me and others what you mean by this gold standard.
The gold standard means real scientific research with replication of studies, which very rarely happens now at NIH. We should be giving at least 20% of the NIH budgets to replication. We should make sure that all the science is published with the raw data. We should make sure that the peer reviews are also published. And I'll give you a quick example. 20 years ago, NIH scientists did a study on Alzheimer's, which they said it was caused by amyloid plaque. After that, NIH shut down studies of any other hypothesis. 20 years later, we now know that those studies were fraudulent. NIH has funded 800 studies on a fraudulent hypothesis, and we've lost 20 years in figuring out a cure for Alzheimer's. And that's just one example. I could give you hundreds. We need to end that. We need to end the old boy system. We need to have replicatable science and be completely transparent about raw data.
Thank you, sir. In recent years, particularly during the COVID pandemic, there's been a lot of skepticism about our public health institutions. Some of this, I would say, is warranted, but it's now created a pervasive lack of trust from the public that these institutions are acting in bad faith or failing to act in objective criteria, failing, in short, to act in the best interests of the public. If confirmed, Mr. Kennedy, how will you work to regain the public's trust? I suspect it will take some time in these important public health institutions.
Through radical transparency, I'm going to make the reason people don't trust the public health agencies is because they haven't been trustworthy. And you gave the example of COVID. At the beginning of COVID, everybody was rushing to get that vaccine. We had over 90% vaccination uptake.
Yes, sir.
CDC's most recent recommendation is that Americans take the 8th booster. Only 23% of Americans are complying. That means 77% of Americans no longer trust CDC, and that is the problem.
Yes, sir. In the absence of full information, might it, I think agree with you, but I want your response. Might it make sense to share that absence of full information with the American people, that uncertainty? I think one of the things, by observation and experience, that I saw during the pandemic was we had certain prominent doctors appear on television and indicate, no, you absolutely must not wear a mask. 2 weeks later, it's yes, you must wear a mask. But they were certain. And they even demonized people for not following the latest science, knowing there's a high level of uncertainty in that science. Would a measure of humility, and as you say, radical transparency demonstrates humility, help rebuild trust over a period of years?
Absolutely. We need to tell Americans what we don't know. We need to make sure studies that reach a null hypothesis are also published. And that doesn't happen.
Sir, I think you are right about why healthcare costs are so high in the first place. The answer is indeed chronic disease. 90% of our healthcare spending goes towards managing it, as you say in your open statement. It's not in the main because of waste, fraud, and abuse, although we know some exist. It's not in the main because we have greedy executives at innovative world-class companies. It's not in the main because we haven't yet adopted an unsustainable Medicare for all scheme. It's because of this. So I'm encouraged that you intend to make that a point of emphasis as it pertains to your future leadership. I will say, with respect to COVID, it's not over for a lot of Americans. It's not over. I know the mission accomplished banner was convenient for the last administration, but as we continue to navigate the ongoing impacts of the COVID pandemic, we have many individuals here in the United States and around the world who are suffering from long-term health effects that significantly impact their quality of life, work, and daily activities, and they've been largely ignored. Funding for long COVID research was appropriated by Congress in December of 2020, followed by additional funding directed by the Biden administration in February 2024. Patient groups and industry publications have criticized the slow pace of clinical trial design and enrollment. If confirmed, will you collaborate with healthcare providers, researchers, and effective communities to better understand and mitigate long COVID's impact? Yes or no, please?
Absolutely, Senator. There's 16 million Americans.
Will you commit to prioritizing long COVID research and integrate this work into broader healthcare policies? Yes or no, please?
Yes.
Patient groups, experts, and industry publications have raised concerns around existing long COVID funding being spent on observational research. In particular, criticism was directed towards RECOVER funding being used to duplicate existing findings instead of funding trials for potential treatments or diagnostics. If confirmed, Mr. Kennedy, will you work with Congress so that going forward, long COVID funding will be directed primarily towards trial or novel research directions and not replicating existing observational research? Yes or no?
Absolutely, Senator, with enthusiasm.
Thank you so much.
And what they ain't saying is them vaccines, man, them COVID vaccines added a lot of additional health problems to people who took those vaccines. So what booster are we on right now? Booster 24? It's like you got to keep on taking them shots, it's crazy. But the vaccines cause a lot of health issues too.
If confirmed, how will you create a balance between your personal priorities of chronic disease and healthy lifestyle and the ongoing critical work of the department in areas that are focused on incentivizing and advancing innovation in modern medicine and pharmaceutical discovery?
I think innovation is going to be the key to public health. And we have a unique opportunity now in history because of AI, because of telemedicine, and because of the quality of people that are now coming to HHS to actually save public health. But it's all going to rely on innovation, and I don't want to do anything that inhibits or impairs the pace of innovation.
That's encouraging. From approving AI algorithms to determining Medicare coverage, we certainly need more innovation, and we need good people in the department to assist with that effort. So I'll follow up with a question about how you're going to attract and retain good people. Thank you, Chairman.
Sorry.
B. Perez in the chats, don't let them get you down. You got your own opinion. Keep chatting it up, B. You believe what you believe, and none of these people in the chats know you, so don't let them get you down. Keep your head up. And somebody said the vaccine saved people's lives. Yeah, it did, but they have issues. A lot of people have issues with them vaccines. So, and the bottom line is that pandemic shouldn't have never happened due to Fauci's negligence. So, but it is what it is. I appreciate everybody in the chats, man. Y'all keep chatting. Hit that screen. Double tap the screen, man. Subscribe to the channel, man. Let's keep this thing going. God bless everybody.
Sorry to shut you down a little faster than I did the others, Senator. And we are up against a vote deadline here, and we have one more senator who gets his full time. I hope you'll keep it as close to 5 minutes as you can, Senator Welch. And then I've promised Senator Wyden, 5 more minutes?
To be divided 1 minute with my colleagues getting 1 minute.
And then if we can do that, we can get over to vote before they call the vote on the floor.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Kennedy. And as you know, I'm have great reverence for your family from Massachusetts. When I got out of college, I was in the first class of.
And I didn't take no vaccine. I'm in good health. I wore a mask when it first started, but I was like, wait a minute. when you start seeing people wearing masks in their cars by themselves, I was like, something ain't right. Why would you wear a mask by yourself in your car? So I stopped wearing them, and I never once got sick or any of that stuff. So, hey, I wasn't falling for it. I wasn't falling for it.
Robert Kennedy Fellows, the memorial created by your family to honor the service of your father. I do community organizing in the west side of Chicago. And I certainly admire your energy in your effort here and desire to serve. You know, there's a couple of things that are really important here. This is not just about a debate on vaccines. It's a debate about the qualifications, experience, and priorities as to the person that will head Health and Human Services. And it's not just...
And yeah, I never got sick one time. And I'm at people's doors every day. I work for the post office, so I'm around people all out in the open and everything, and I never got sick. Period.
About what your answers are today or what the questions are. It obviously has a lot to do with your whole record and your whole history. You know, your sister in her letter, or pardon me, your cousin in her letter said, you've always been charismatic, able to attract others through the strength of your personality, willingness to take risk and break rules. That's, I guess, an attribute, but it can be a danger. The question I fundamentally have is whether your willingness to disrupt and maybe break rules is going to be dangerous and destructive. The character questions we didn't go into here, but there's some sketchy things. You've acknowledged your history with heroin. You've gotten over that. But there's incidents that do, I think, concern the question of whether the stability is there to be in charge of this major organization. And that's compounded by my concern that you don't have any experience managing a large organization, that you don't have any experience in government. So those are things that have to be taken into account. But the issue for me is also priorities. A lot of your engagement in health has been on vaccines, big important issue. You actually disagreed, as I understand it, with President Trump about Operation Warp Speed. I think President Trump deserves a lot of credit for Operation Warp Speed. He knew we had to get a vaccine. And these other issues about a mask and whether you should wear it, whether when you got your groceries, the bag had to be left outside, remember that in the very beginning? Those are incidental to the core question that the president believed we had to have a vaccine. And you contested that. That worries me. That really deeply worries me. The other questions, Senator Cassidy asked you some questions about our healthcare system. I happen to believe that our healthcare system is profoundly broken. And it's not just about the chronic illnesses. That's about our diet, that's about our exercise. But we are getting premium increases in Vermont of 20% a year, 25% a year. And it's busting the bank for taxpayers, it's busting the bank for our wonderful Vermont employers who care about having health insurance that they can provide to their employees. Senator Cassidy asked you a couple of questions about how you would reform Medicaid, and I didn't hear an answer. You mentioned that you thought Medicare Advantage was good. You have a good plan. No focus on what an incredible ripoff was reported in the Wall Street Journal by United Healthcare, which was marketing Medicare Advantage and then paying doctors and nurses where they had assignments essentially to diagnose illnesses that didn't exist. So they made billions and billions of dollars. And I've seen nothing coming out of the Trump administration, and I've seen nothing coming out of your advocacy that is going after what is a rampant abuse by the insurance companies and overcharging people and not doing the job. And by the way, the United Healthcare people, when they did that, they overdiagnosed. When the person really got sick, they dumped them. They dumped them. Go to the nursing home on your own. That's a broken healthcare system. We spend the most and get the least. And I think there should be collective anger about this on both sides because all of our people are dependent on that healthcare system. And you're going to be working for a president who's on a lawless rampage right now, okay?
Where's Luigi at? United Healthcare, man. Where's Luigi?
He has done something reckless with the pardons to these cop beaters. I'm appalled by that. But that's just reckless. That's not illegal. He's impounded money. So right now, the Medicaid website went down. He's impounded money. So the community health centers that Senator Warner was talking about are up in the air as to what they can do. Do you believe that a president can impound money that has been appropriated by Congress?
Senator, let me answer the question about Medicare first. I have never defended that program or the rapacious behavior by insurance companies or the PBMs. I understand that's a huge problem. And
all right, I don't have time. We've got to get over to vote. So we can do this.
But you've asked me 5 questions. You got to give me a chance to answer one of them.
Please.
Yeah, get a man a chance. Y'all asking all these questions. Get a man a chance to answer one of the questions. If he don't say yes or no, y'all just keep going and going. Like, let the man answer. Give him 5 questions. He want to at least answer one of them. Damn.
Come on now, dog.
Come on.
Come on, man.
Let the man answer.
Be brief.
Yeah, I brought in, if I get confirmed, I've already appointed a general counsel. It's the first time in history he's a former prosecutor who prosecuted the biggest Medicare fraud in the case in the state of West Virginia. I brought in a prosecutor for that job instead of a bureaucrat, precisely to address the important issues that you raised here. The only reason I didn't talk about these before is because I wasn't asked about them.
What about-
I agree with you 100%.
All right, what about impounding, a president impounding money that, among other things, goes to health care?
And you're saying that that's illegal?
That's correct.
Well, my job is to uphold the Constitution. I'm going to take an oath to uphold the Constitution, and I will administer the law and uphold the Constitution.
Constitution.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, now they stuck. Now they stuck. He's going to uphold the Constitution, man. Man.
Mr. Chairman, I believe under what we've discussed, I control 5 minutes. I'm going to take one and give one to each of my 4 colleagues that remain.
All right, and I would just say this vote, they're going to call it in about 8 minutes.
Thank you.
So
Question, man, where y'all at in the chats, man? Where y'all from, man? Put it in the chats, man. What city y'all from? What state? What country, man? I would like to see that, man.
we have very little time.
2 hours ago, colleagues, I asked Mr. Kennedy to reconcile his many anti-vaccine statements with his handful of pro-vaccine statements. Instead, he gave us a word salad and ducked the issue. The same was true, Mr. Kennedy, with respect to measles, where you wrote a book playing down the threat, of measles, even though American families are very.
We got Florida, Chicago up in here, man. I seen Pittsburgh earlier. New Jersey. What's going on up in New Jersey? Man.
Concerned about it, and apparently families are still mourning in Samoa. And my last point would be that Mr. Kennedy.
Cincinnati, Washington State, Ohio, man, Missouri, Manila, Philippines, Tennessee, man. People all over the place up in here, man. Tampa, Toluca Lake, California. What's up with it, man? Central California, Cincinnati again. Man, God bless y'all, man. Switzerland, Kentucky, Connecticut, man. Minnesota, man. Florida again. What's up, man? LA, man. Illinois, Springfield, Cheyenne, Ohio. What's up with it? Tahoe, man. They said Trump County. California, LA City of Angels, man. What's up, man? You right down the street from me, man. Michigan, Georgia up in here, man. Shout out to everybody in the chats, man. Orlando, Florida. Chicago, man, got the migrants running amok out there. They hiding now out there in Chicago, man. Chicago look like a ghost town right now. Y'all got that stupid mayor Brandon Johnson looking like a damn idiot out there. If you ask me, that's just my opinion. You know what I'm saying? I don't like the man. I don't hate him, but I don't like the man. I don't hate nobody. I just hate people's actions, man.
Kennedy said today really wasn't about him. And I just want to tell him it is all about you, because I find your presentation to be both untrustworthy and unprepared, because my colleagues have been seeing back and forth between Medicare and Medicaid, and it's not clear which program you're using when. So I want colleagues to know there is a lot more information to learn about Mr. Kennedy before we vote. I'm going to urge that to my colleagues on both sides of the aisle to not make decisions on the basis of this session. I thank you for the additional time.
I can't forget we got Grease up in here.
And I guess my next minute is Senator Whitehouse, Senator Warren, and Senator Smith.
And again, 1 minute each, please.
Senator Warnock.
There's been a
Excuse
lot
me.
of conversation about late-term abortions here, and I just want to make clear what Rhode Island OBGYN doctors describe as what is almost always happening when a late-term abortion is needed. It is a childbirth gone wrong. The family has painted the room, it has bought the crib, maybe even decided on the baby's name, and has gone to the hospital to welcome the new baby into their family in what is supposed to be a happy event. And then things went wrong. Then the alarms started pinging. The lights started flashing. The medical professionals started rushing in. And the question became, who lives and who dies? The mom's life is often at risk, and she may have other children she needs to care for. The baby's life may be at risk, and one or both may die. In that environment, the doctors and the family own that decision. Government has no place in that room at that point. And I think we need to understand when this late-term abortion gets bandied about, what you're dealing with is a tragedy that is happening to a family who wanted that child and have suddenly been confronted with a moment in which they have to make what is probably going to be the worst decision of their lives. And to try to shove the state legislature into that room is really offensive, really morally wrong, and I just want to make very clear what Rhode Island OBGYNs tell me is the situation when these procedures have to be deployed.
Senator Warren.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, Mr. Kennedy, I wanted to ask about your role in the 2019 measles outbreak in Samoa. In July 2018, 2 children died immediately after receiving a measles vaccine that nurses had mistakenly mixed with a muscle relaxant. The nurses get charged with manslaughter, but vaccination rates go down. I asked you about this in my office. You told me flatly that your visit to Samoa had nothing to do with vaccinations. We now know that's not true. I have the documentation. You met with the Prime Minister, you talked about vaccinations. You met with an anti-vaccine influencer who described the meeting as, quote, profoundly monumental for this movement. So what happens? Vaccinations go down, there's a measles outbreak, and children start dying. But you double down. You didn't give up. Just 4 days after the Prime Minister declared a state of emergency, 16 people already dead, you sent a letter to him promoting the idea that the children had died not from measles, but from, quote, defective vaccine. You launched the idea that a measles vaccine caused these deaths. You are a very influential man. In fact, you are called the leader of the Disinformation Dozen. UNICEF and WHO, the World Health Organization, investigated this. They say the claims are false. It is not biologically possible what you claimed. And yet, ultimately, more than 70 people died because they didn't get vaccines. So my question is, do you accept even a scintilla, just even a sliver of responsibility for the drop in vaccinations and the subsequent deaths of more than 70 people? Anything you do differently?
No, absolutely not. After the
Right answer. He got his own opinion. Don't mean people got to listen to it. Good Lord. They want to blame deaths on this man. Like, he ain't the one. He said what he said. He can't make people do them type of things. Come on, man. Good answer, Kennedy. Good answer.
There were 2 incidents which children died in 2015 and again in 2008. 2015, it was from the measles vaccine. That's what the New Zealand General Hospital found. The government of Samoa banned the measles vaccine after the 2018. I arrived in July of the next year after the ban had been in place for a year.
Mr.
And the
Chairman,
measles,
understanding that you wanted to hold this to a minute and that I don't get to present all the facts and documentation I've got, how about if we just decide to make entries for the record on exactly what the record shows about Mr. Kennedy's participation? And I think he's answered the yes or no question. He takes no responsibility.
Senator Warren, we will do
that
that. And Mr. Kennedy, and to all the senators, every senator knows that following this hearing, they will be able to ask you questions off the record, and you will be able to put answers back onto the record. So please give that answer. I apologize that we're shutting you off for giving a full response right now. Senator Smith, and
thank
we
you.
are way over time.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, Mr. Kennedy, you have said that you want to give infectious diseases a break for about 8 years. You spoke about this with Senator Cantwell. My question to you has to do with avian flu. Over 100 million birds culled. The disease has spread to dairy cows, and there are now 67 confirmed human cases and 1 death. So, Mr. Kennedy, do you intend to give research on bird flu a break?
no, I intend to devote the appropriate resources to preventing pandemics. That's an essential part of my job.
What do you think is causing the avian influenza?
I think the H5N1 virus is.
So that's good to hear, because in a recent book, I will submit this for the record because we don't have that much time, Mr. Kennedy has questioned the scientific basis for germs causing disease and the power of vaccines and antibiotics. to
I've
help
never
cure
questioned
disease.
that, Senator.
Well, I will submit that for the record.
Thank you. Senator Warnock, 1 minute.
I like the way you said that to the Baptist preacher. Thank you so much, Mr. Kennedy. Based on our conversations, it's my understanding that you support work requirements in Medicaid. In 2020, President Trump approved a proposal from Georgia state leaders requiring Georgians to jump through a number of onerous bureaucratic hoops and fill out even more paperwork to verify work and get access to health care. I ask this as someone who represents a state that has not expanded Medicaid. The federal government, because of this waiver, spent $70 million on Georgia's Medicaid waiver. 82% of that went to administrative costs. The point that I'm making is that the folks that they're insisting need to work, 90% of those folks are working, they are caregivers, or they have a disability. Let me give you one example. A woman I think of all the time.
Y'all keep it up in the chats, man. I got to do something real quick. I'll be right back. All right.
Her name is Heather. She's a traveling nurse from Dalton, Georgia, who falls into the Medicaid coverage gap. Heather experienced a series of small strokes, leaving her unable to work full-time. She's dedicated her life to caring for patients, but now she can't afford her own medical care, out-of-pocket costs, because she doesn't make enough to qualify for tax credits to buy private insurance. What does Heather need? Does she need work requirements, or does she need access to health care so she can finally get healthy and get back to work?
The individual that you described would need health care and not a work requirement.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, and we are done with the questioning now. Mr. Kennedy, I apologize to you, to the audience, and to all of my colleagues to have to rush it here at the end, but we have a vote on the Senate floor that they're going to close in about 3 minutes. I want to thank you for appearing before this committee. You have been accessible to the members and staff on both sides of the aisle of the Finance Committee throughout a rigorous process, and I want the whole world to know that you spent hours in meetings answering questions outside of this hearing and providing documents and responses on issue after issue after issue. You've gone through the most thorough vetting process that any committee in this Congress puts anybody through. And I think that you have come through well and deserve to be confirmed. I would like to remind my colleagues that the deadline for submitting any questions for the record is 5 p.m. today, 5 p.m. today. And Mr. Kennedy, we ask that you respond to those questions as quickly as you possibly can. With that, I'm going to leave you in this room and run over to vote. This hearing will be adjourned. I still encourage the audience to be polite and respectful no matter what side of the issues you may be on. And Mr. Kennedy, I look forward to working with you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
We're adjourned.
We think a very substantial number.
Wow. Well, it's good, man. I appreciate y'all, man, for tapping in. You know what I'm saying? It was a good hearing for right now. And yeah, man. I appreciate y'all, man. Y'all hit that subscribe button, man. Get your boy up in the rankings, man. Subscribers, man. But I'm gonna do my own poll, man. Y'all put a number 1, man, if y'all think RFK Jr. is a good pick, and put a number 2 if you guys think he's not, man. Let me see. Let me see. We got Zach says number 2. Daisy Freedom 1. Candy Garfield 1. Brian Addington 2. Manic Cam say 1. Phoenix say 1. Man. Everybody got mixed feelings, man. You know, I appreciate you guys' opinions with the polls. Let me see what the polls says. Man, the polls, you got 64% say yes, 36% say no. Man. Well, look, I think he gonna get pushed through. So people that don't like it, hey, it is what it is. We got Daniel with a number 1. Yeah, man. It's Wednesday. Hump day, man. Wednesday. We got Matthew say 1. Man, we had a lot of people in the chats, man. Man, y'all leave B. Perez alone, man. I appreciate all your comments, B. Perez. Don't let them get you. You know what I'm saying? Crazy. Yeah, man. Whew. Guess they gonna come back. I don't know. I took a little break. When I got back, it was over. I'm like, what the hell? I was like, what the hell? It was over already. I should have just waited, huh? Yeah, man. We had a beautiful stream, man. I appreciate the Senate committee, man. Appreciate the United States of America living here, man. It's a great time to be alive in America, man. We got these Democratic stronghold cities, sanctuary cities, man, looking like ghost towns right now. You know what I'm saying? You got ICE, baby. Getting these people up out of here, man. The worst first. We got a lot of people tripping. Man, they coming into schools and churches. Man, look, I don't want nobody that's convicted of any kind of major crime working in no damn school around my kids. And they gonna run to the church like you running to the church. So, hey, you better pray when you get there because ICE is coming to kick the door down and come get you. You know what I'm saying? They coming to get you. And to me, it's a good thing, man. We got so much crime already in America. We can't afford to have all these criminals coming here, man. I can't even have a damn jaywalking ticket that turned to a warrant and the police come kicking my door down to come get me. So, hey, it is what it is, man. Get them out of here, man. The worst first. Then we'll start talking about the rest of them. You know what I'm saying? These Democrats keep talking about what crimes did they break? When they came in the country illegally. That's a damn crime. Ain't it? It's a damn crime. So what the hell is they talking about? That's what I don't get. Like, you came in here illegally. It is a crime. And that's your ass. You can't come in here, man, in this country thinking that you could just come up in here and just do what the hell you want to do. You know what I'm saying? You can't. It's a crime. If you come in here illegally, I ain't got nothing to say. You know what I'm saying? You can't just come in this country, man. Not like that. I know God made the world for everybody, but since everything got sectioned off, there's rules and regulations. So follow the rules and you'll be good. But other than that, it's a damn crime. You know what I'm saying? It's a crime. It's a crime. Let's see what Trump talking about real quick. Let me see. Let me go back. We finna watch Trump's, he signs the Lincoln Riley Act. Man, rest in peace to Lincoln Riley. Should have never happened. Shouldn't have never happened.
Check 1 2, check 1 2, check 1 2. Audio's good for panel camera? Good. Cuts, you all good? Audio? Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States.
The walk of a proud U.S. citizen right there. Man.
Thank you very much. Please, thank you very much. Before we begin, I want to provide a brief report on the unprecedented success our country has been witnessing in recent weeks. Since even before the election, we've been making extraordinary progress. The American people gave us a clear mandate to save our country, and we won all 7 swing states by large margins, historic. Very importantly, we won the popular vote by millions and millions of votes. Also, all 50 states, as you know, shifted toward the Republican Party, and that's never happened before. All 50, every single one of them. In our first week in office, we set records, taking over 350 executive actions. That's not been done before. And it has reportedly been the single most effective opening week of any presidency in history. And we want to keep it that way. We want to keep it going. We want to keep it going. We've broken from decades of failed Washington policies and restored common sense and sanity to our government. We've unleashed American energy, and we've already achieved record low illegal immigration. As you see, there's nobody trying to get in. And that's what we've been waiting for a long time, and gotten woke ideologies out of our government and out of our military. The water has now begun flowing in California as we continue to increase the flow in coming days. Nobody's seen anything like that, and I've also taken strong action to regain control of the Washington bureaucracy. Just for clarification purposes, because it was incorrectly reported yesterday, we have informed the federal workforce, which they've looked to do for many years, that if they're working for the federal government, they must show up to the office on time and on schedule. We don't want them. We don't want them to work from home because, as everyone knows, most of the time they're not working, they're not very productive, and it's unfair to the millions of people in the United States who are in fact working hard from job sites and not from their home. As federal employees, they must meet a high standard. They're representing our government, they're representing our country. If they don't agree by February 6th to show up back to work in their office, they will be terminated, and we will therefore be downscaling our government, which is something that the last 10 presidents have tried very hard to do but failed. Most of the people we're talking about have not been going to their federal offices in many, many years, from even before COVID. But they have nevertheless been paid. Some have worked, some haven't worked, and most of the studies say that some have just gone through the motions. We may ask these people to prove that they didn't have another job during their so-called employment with the United States of America, because if they did, that would be unlawful. As you understand, a lot of people are getting paychecks, but they're actually working other jobs, so they'll have to prove that to us that they weren't. In any event, we're requiring them to show up to work or be.
Get your ass to work. It's time to get off the couch with the popcorn and watching TV and trying to conduct business. It's time to go clock back in, get back to work and appreciate your job. Because I can't deliver mail from my couch. I got to go to work every day. I work for the federal government. I have to get up and go walk these streets, deliver these packages, deliver this mail, and it is what it is. It's time to get your asses off the couch and go back and wear your good work clothes and take your ass back in there and work. I'm with that. I'm jealous. Yeah, I'm jealous. Time to get your ass and get back to work.
Be terminated. We think a very substantial number of people will not show up to work, and therefore our government will get smaller and more efficient, and that's what we've been looking to do for many, many decades, frankly. Thank you. In addition, there was a short-term pause or funding freeze on certain discretionary spending payments, such as government grants, only for us to quickly look at the scams, dishonesty, waste, and abuse that's taken place in our government for too long. As was explicitly stated, this in no way affected Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, or other entitlements that Americans depend on. I've made abundantly clear from the very first day that I ran from.
Get your ass up and hurry up. Ice Cube, I see you, Amanda. Get your asses back to work. Drop them kids off at school, daycare, all that. Put gas in your car, dust your car off, get to work, get in the parking spot, and walk back in there and dust your desk off. Get back in there and get to work. Now.
Office, that was a long time ago now. That's 2015. If you think about it, I announced in 2015 and we won in 2016. We did very well in 2020, but we did really well just recently. And I'm restating right now to correct any confusion that the media has purposely and somehow for whatever reason created. Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid have not been affected by any action we're taking in any way, shape, or form. We are merely looking at parts of the big bureaucracy where there has been tremendous waste and fraud and abuse. In that process, we identified and stopped $50 million being sent to Gaza to buy condoms.
That was the crazy thing right there. They sending $50 million to buy condoms for the Gazan people. If that ain't a waste of government spending, tax money, man, look, when I heard that, man, that really pissed me off. I'm like, y'all sending $50 million, y'all can give me $50 million. If they can just send $50 million for some damn condoms, damn, that's crazy. I'm glad Doge and all these people is looking at where this money is going. That's just ridiculous, man. If y'all think that's ridiculous, man, put a 1 in the chat, man. $50 million was about to be sent to Gaza for condoms. Come on, man.
Come on now, dog.
That's crazy.
Come on, man. What? Help me.
That's crazy.
For Hamas, 50 million. And you know what's happened to them? They've used them as a method of making bombs. How about that? We stopped an attempt to make an illicit payment for illegal alien resettlement. We canceled $181 million in DEI training contracts. This is just for the training of people in DEI, which has been terminated and completely terminated.
Good
and we
Lord.
paused $1.7 billion in unauthorized payments to foreign organizations, including stopping more than $40 million that was on its way out the door to the very corrupt World Health Organization, which has not done its job and not done it properly. We also blocked $45 million for diversity scholarships in Burma. 45, that's a lot of money for diversity scholarships in Burma. You can imagine where that money went. These were the types of payments, and many others. I could stand here all day and tell you things that we found and we have to find them quickly because we want the money to flow to proper places. But these were the payments and types of payments affected by the temporary freeze, and the American people strongly support these efforts. I talked about it during the campaign, and they voted for us in record numbers. Every single day, we're now putting America first and fighting to get the most out of every single tax dollar for our great citizens.
Can't hate on that. Every single tax dollar is supposed to be counted for something that is going to benefit the American citizens. That's just crazy. They send all these billions of dollars and millions of dollars to these other countries for just for bullshit. Excuse my language. You know what I'm saying? And you got the people on the left tripping like, what? You know what I'm saying? It's time to shake it up. He's shaking up the world, man. Shake it up, Trump. Let's go.
Gathered this afternoon to take another historic action. However, in a few moments, the Laken-Riley Act will become the very first bill that I proudly sign into law as the 47th President of the United States.
Somebody said, let me see what this chat say. Sneeze Wax say no more food stamps for starving babies. If you listen to what they said individual payments will not be affected. That means individuals like citizens who's already receiving aid, it will not be affected. They talking about canceling all these programs, $50 million for condoms for Gaza and DEI projects and all this woke stuff and transformerism and all this stuff. Man, stop all that, man. Stop all of it. It's only two damn genders, male and female. When you die, when they go and examine your body and your bones and all that stuff, they ain't gonna say, oh, this is a transformer skeleton. No, they gonna say it's either a male or a female. So it's a good thing they doing this. Good thing they doing this. And I seen somebody say External Revenue Service. Yeah, charge these people so we don't have to pay income tax. You know what I'm saying? More money for us. And the people in the chat that's going against this must not be from America. Because anything that somebody's saying that is going to be good for American citizens, man, if you're an American citizen and you out here struggling like me and everybody else, and you see a person that's trying to put more money into your pocket to have a better life and able to buy a house and all these different things to take care of your family, you should be all with it, because the last administration was full of shit. Excuse my language on that. Full of it. All demonic just rituals and all kind of different things. Like, man, come on, man. God ain't having that, regardless if it was Trump or anybody else. This man's talking about God. They're bringing God back into the schools, all these different things, man, getting all that Sodom and Gomorrah crap up out of here. So, hey, shame on you if you believe in all that type of stuff there, man. You know what I'm saying? You got to answer to God for that shameful behavior. You know what I'm saying? I'm a God-fearing man. I don't play them games. I don't want no men and women's sports, no men and women's bathrooms and allowing your kids to make a decision whether they want to be a girl or a boy at a young age, 7-year-old. Like, come on, man. This is just a rude awakening for those people who are on the far left. You know what I'm saying? We ain't saying you got to become a Republican. We ain't saying you got to stop being a Democrat, but you got to have some damn common sense out here. Just point blank, period.
Laken was a brilliant and beautiful 22-year-old nursing student from Georgia, the best in her class. She was always the best. They would say, Laken, how do you do this? And what do you do? They were always asking her questions. She was respected by everybody, even her teachers. They respected her so much. From the time she was in first grade. Lakin knew she wanted to spend her time caring for others. That's what she did. To her friends and classmates, she was a light of warmth and kindness in every single room. To her parents and family, she was everything in the world. They've had a miserable period of time. Just after 9 a.m. last February 22nd, Lakin went out for a jog on the campus of the University of Georgia, but she was.
I'm reading the chats, and it's not about hating people. I don't hate anybody. I just hate their actions. You know what I'm saying? If they gonna allow trans things like that, but give them a trans sport league or something, like, you know what I'm saying? Trans bathrooms. Don't just let them just allow them just to go, just because a person identifies a woman, to go, a man identifying a woman just to go in a woman's bathroom. No, make a male bathroom, female bathroom, and a transgender bathroom. How about that? In sports, have trans boxing, trans tennis, trans football. Who will watch trans football? You know what I'm saying? They might make a lot of money. You never know, but you can't just intermix everybody in the same, you know, in the same category. Like, nah. But I firmly believe it's only two damn genders. Two damn genders. That's it. So, you can hate me, love me, hate me. I don't give a damn. I'm a traditional man. I believe in God, and that's it. So they want rights, then create a whole damn trans population. I don't give a damn. But all those people got to answer to God when they step in front of God and God asks you, what have you did? Whew. Hey, God, you already know what the outcome is.
Was just never returned. She never came back, did she, huh? Parents are here, sister, all of her relatives. While on her run, Lakin was attacked, viciously assaulted, beaten, brutalized, and murdered by an illegal alien gang member who was set loose into our country by the last administration. We are deeply honored to be joined today by Lakin's parents, Allison and John, and her sister, Lauren. Thank you very much. Thank you. So sad. We were together right after that happened, and it's a tremendous tribute to your daughter, what's taking place today. That's all I can say, but so sad we have to be doing it at all. Thank you very much for being here. To Lakin's family, we will keep Lakin's memory alive in our hearts forever, everyone's hearts. With today's action, her name will also live forever in the laws of our country, and this is a very important law. This is something that has brought Democrats and Republicans together. That's not easy to do. Lakin did it. Lakin.
Sneeze wax. Ain't none of my kids gonna be no damn trans. Crazy as hell. Not none of mine. I taught all my kids they're male and females. I got grandkids. Ain't none of that happening under my watch. I don't give a damn.
Did it. America will never ever forget Lakin Hope Riley. The vicious criminal who murdered Precious Lakin was an illegal alien member of the barbaric Venezuelan prison gang known as Tren de Aragua. He trespassed across our southern border in 2022 and was apprehended by Border Patrol, but under the cruel policies of the last administration, instead of being deported as he should have been, he was released into the United States, as were millions of other people, many of them.
Dankatron say, how you gonna, wait. Yeah, Dankatron say, that's like you're gonna stop your child from being gay. Being gay, that's a taught behavior. Ain't nothing about me that I brought around my kids that was gay. So I don't care. People talking about you born that way. You not born that damn way. Just like when you a baby and you at the daycare with white kids, black kids, Mexican kids, Chinese kids, Asian, Indian kids, everybody's playing together. It's when they go home and be taught that, oh, that black boy, them white people is crazy, this and that. It's a taught behavior. You not born that way. I don't give a damn what anybody says. This is what I believe. You can believe what you want. Ain't no baby coming out the womb doing all the flat, like they not doing that. They kids. Kids' brains soak up like a sponge. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody born that way. I don't give a damn what you say.
Very dangerous people. And you see what we're doing? We're getting them the hell out of here. He was soon arrested again in New York City on charges of endangering a child, but because of New York City's deadly sanctuary policies, as we have in California.
Freedom of speech over here. Censorship is being diminished. Don't hate me for my thoughts. Okay?
And many other places, which we're ending. We're going to end them. He was released again to reoffend. The Biden administration then provided this illegal alien criminal with a free, taxpayer-funded flight from New York to Georgia, where he was arrested yet again, constantly, this time for stealing from a Walmart along with his gang member brother, who was a bad one. Only after being released a third time by the U.S. law enforcement did this cold-blooded criminal go out in that fateful morning, hunting for women on whom to prey. That's what he did. He hunted. It was like a hunter. I'm going to show him who the hunter is. This horrific atrocity should never have been allowed to happen. And as president, I'm fighting every single day to ensure that such a tragedy never happens again. We don't want this to happen. Under the law I'm signing today, the Department of Homeland Security will be required to detain all illegal aliens who have been arrested for theft, burglary, larceny, shoplifting, assaulting a police officer, murder, or any crime that results in death or serious injury. In addition, for the first time ever, this act gives state governments the ability to sue the federal government for immediate injunctive relief if any future administration ever again refuses to enforce the immigration laws of the United States, like happened for 4 long years.
4 long damn years.
And that was happening for 4 long years, frightful years. Amazing. You'd say, how can people do this? How can they allow this to happen? How can they allow criminals to pour into our country and then try and defend it? And they're still trying to defend it, but they can't. That's why I'm here instead of somebody else, actually. It's the biggest reason. I believe it's the single biggest reason. Inflation was horrible. Many things were horrible during that administration. When you look at what took place in Afghanistan, the way they got out, not that they got out, but the way, so many things were horrible. But to me, this was the worst of all. It's a landmark law that we're doing today. It's going to save countless innocent American lives. I want to thank every House Republican, every Senate Republican, as well as the 12 Senate Democrats and the 48 House Democrats who voted to pass this vitally important bill, and many of them are with us today, and I really do appreciate it. And I very much especially appreciate the bipartisan support. The Democrats, really a big percentage of them came through, and plenty of them wanted to. They probably felt they couldn't, but they really wanted to. That they don't understand that would have made them a lot more popular, would have made them a lot better with their people. The ones that didn't are going to be sorry, because the people are not going to forget that they wouldn't sign. This is a perfect, incredible tribute to an unbelievable young lady. We're joined today by many great supporters of our new strong border policies, and they are indeed strong, including Vice President Vance, thank you, JD, Secretary Scott Bessent, who just got approved, by the way. Where's Scott? He just got approved. Scott, I'm very impressed. Got a lot of Democrat votes, too. He got a lot of Democrat votes. That's great. I don't know, is that a good thing or a bad thing? I'll have to think about that. Secretary of Homeland Security, who's going to be fantastic. I know her so well, and I know it's probably not complimentary.
Somebody in the chat say, let me see, hold on. Let me see. Thankatron say the ignorance to say someone is taught to be gay is insane, just willfully ignorant. When I say taught to be gay, when you starting to see, when your kids are watching TV and they starting to, I'm not saying the parents are teaching their kids to be that way. I'm just saying the way of the world. When they're watching TV and seeing gay stuff on TV, and it makes them kids curious. Then you got people who are allowing it, like not telling the kid like that's wrong. You know what I'm saying? It does starts in the household. Like you start seeing your kids being too damn, a boy being all sassy. Like my little son, I got a 3-year-old son. If I see my little 3-year-old son acting suspicious, first of all, I'm gonna be like, where is he learning this from? Because he's not learning that shit from me or his mother. So I'm gonna investigate that. But then I'm gonna sit him down and tell him that it's not right, son. This is not right. Men are supposed to be with women. Women are supposed to be with men. But then you have clothes, like the clothes in the stores. These guys wearing skinny jeans and all these different things like that. It's like the way of society is teaching your kids that you can be what you want to be when it comes to loving who you want to love. And that's not right. So if I have to shut my kids' TV off or anything like that, I'm gonna block my child from watching that type of stuff. That's why I say it's a learned behavior. He didn't come out the womb being that way. I'm not gonna allow it. So I can't speak for everybody else and their families and whatever they do, whatever, but my family, the family that I created, I'm not allowing that. And I'm not going to support it. I'm going to love my child no matter what. I love my babies no matter what, but I'm not going to be the one who's going to support that. I'm going to constantly tell my kid, you supposed to be with a woman's son, or my daughter, you supposed to be with a man's son. Or don't be with anybody at all. But I'm not supporting that. You know, everybody got their beliefs and whatever it is. But my immediate family that I created, we not going for that. I'm not going for it. So.
Because she is a woman, but she is tough. Where is she? Where is Christy? Christy, great. Stand up, please. You have such an important job to do.
Hell no, I ain't walking my son down no damn aisle with no man. You crazy as hell. That's where I had to cut his ass off. Man.
Really, Joe, thank you very much. And don't let that look fool you. That look is, she's tough, and she cannot stand that she's having to sit here and even listen to this today. Another one who's done a job like nobody that I've seen in a long time, Tom.
Man purses and all that stuff. Man, come on, man.
Come on now, dog. Come on, man.
And he's my friend, but he is something special. He's something special. Yeah. And Tom and Christy, the numbers are unbelievable. What's happened? It's like just shut down. Nobody thought that was even possible. It's just shut down. They showed an area that a year ago had thousands and thousands of people rushing into our country. And today there was nobody there. It was like a beautiful sight. And also Senate Majority Whip John Barrasso. Great guy, great guy. Thank you, John. And I also want to thank the bill sponsors, Senator Katie Britt. Katie, thank you, Katie. And Congressman Mike Collins. And Mike, you were fantastic from Georgia. He took this. He loves this state, and he took this very personally. So it's thank you very much, Mike, as well as.
I'm sorry for keep interrupting this Lincoln Riley Act signing, but let's keep it real. All right, we don't know each other in this chat. Y'all don't know me. Y'all see me, but y'all don't know me. I got a poll, a question. We got some people in here saying that it's not a learned behavior. Some people saying it is a learned behavior. Some people saying all kind of stuff. So I'm gonna ask y'all this question. If your child was about to get married and they were finna marry the same sex, would you guys honestly, be honest now, we don't know each other, would y'all walk y'all child down the aisle? If you feel like this is not right, would you still walk your child down the aisle? Put a 1 in the chat if you will walk them down the aisle, and put a number 2 if you wouldn't. I would really like to see who is what is what in the chat. Keep it real now. I know you love your baby and all that, but like, you know what I'm saying? And you don't agree with same-sex marriage. Would you walk your child down the aisle? Put a 1, put a number 2 if you wouldn't. Okay. It's kind of even. It's looking kind of even. They say love is love. Okay. I see more 2s than 1s. Yeah, I see more 2s than 1s, man. Y'all keeping it real. I mean, you got some 1s in there, but I don't give a damn. I'm not walking nothing down no aisle. I'm not condoning that. About love is love. Crazy as hell. So you can see your son walking down the aisle with another man. The first thought that's going to come into anybody's head who don't agree with that is the act of making love. That's the first thing you're going to think in your mind, that your son is getting violated. I can't agree with that. I'm not doing it.
Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Chuck Grassley. Chuck is here someplace. Chuck, thank you very much. You look great. And House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan, who's a special guy.
Joe Blow 99, he said, I agree, it's learned and it's normalized nowadays. Like they normalizing that. Like that's not normal. Not normal.
Special man. And House Homeland Security Committee.
Everybody got their own choice. I mean, I ain't mad at you. I mean, hey, if you like getting violated and you like your carpet munched, hey, I mean, that's on you.
Chairman Mark Green. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mark. And we have many other congressmen and senators, but I'm not going to introduce because this is about your daughter. This is about something that's so important, and we're going to just to go along, thank you also. We have to say Burt Jones is in the room, and Burt is your lieutenant governor, and he was on this like you wouldn't believe. Thank you very much. I see you sitting there. Thank you very much. So we have state, local officials, we have law enforcement organizations, we have everybody. Most of them are in the room or represented in the room, and they're incredible people, and I've never seen them come together like they have for this. I've done many of these, not of this kind, but different bills, different passages having to do with many different things, from homeland security to inner security to taxes to 50 different items. I've never seen such support as you have today and as your great daughter has today. So I've never seen anything like it. And we have to thank your daughter for that, because she's going to save a lot of lives. She's going to be responsible for saving a lot of lives. So I'd like to just say to the Angel families, I've been with them and they've been with me from 2015 when I first got this crazy idea in my head to run for president because we could do better as a country. I want to thank so many of the people that are here that have been the Angel moms, and we call them Angel moms, but they're Angel families, fathers and sons and daughters, but they've suffered tremendously like you have for no reason whatsoever. I want to thank Alexis Nungari, the mother of 12-year-old Jocelyn Nungari, murdered last summer by 2 illegal alien gang members released into the United States by Joe Biden's open border stupid policies. And thank you very much, Alexis. I want to thank you very much. We had an amazing trip, and it was really special to meet you and your family. Appreciate it very much. So sad we have to be here, frankly. And Jocelyn, as you know, is in our hearts as she was then. It was an amazing day we had, a great day. But it was a day of celebration of somebody that unfortunately won't be with us. But she is with us now, you know that. Here also is Patty Morin, the mother of Rachel Morin, killed 2 years ago by an illegal alien who was let into our country by the last administration's ridiculous, weak policies. Open border, can you imagine? When I heard open border, I said, oh, that's terrible. They're going to release their prisons all over the world. They're going to release their prisons into our country. That's exactly what happened.
Some of these chats are being held for review. I read a few of them. Y'all asses is nasty. Good Lord. Especially drunk in the comments. I don't know. I don't be walking around looking at men. Men are the most ugliest creatures in the world, if you ask me. I don't understand why men look at other men in that way. They ugly to me. And I don't be thinking about what they doing in their bedroom. All I know, I be like, they getting violated. That's my thoughts. Men are ugly to me.
Patty is joined by Rachel's brother, Michael, Rachel's daughter, Clementine, and sister-in-law, Shannon. Thank you all for being here. We appreciate it very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. With us as well is the loving family of Kayla Hamilton, a 20-year-old girl murdered in July 2022 by the MS-13 illegal alien gang member who is violent, vicious, and they knew it, and they didn't do anything about it. And I want to thank you to Kayla's mother, Tammy, and her grandmother, Kathy, and her stepfather, Jeremiah, very much. And finally, I want to thank others who have also suffered this horrible scourge that goes on with young people being killed, and other people too, but young people, largely young people being killed. Thank you to Scott Root, the father of Sarah Root, killed at 21 years of age. Think of that, 21 by an illegal alien, shouldn't have been in our country, would have never been in our country if we were here. What a sad thing. To each of these Angel families, we love you and we stand in awe of your courage and your strength. It's the toughest thing anybody has to go through. Many of the Angel families here today were betrayed by the last administration and with its heartless and foolish and really very, very arrogant and very, very dumb policies. Policies that aren't even believable when you talk about common sense. I say we're the party of common sense, but the Democrats also, they have plenty of common sense, and that's why so many are here today and so many supported what we're doing. The very government that was supposed to protect their daughters instead opened our borders and transported the world's most dangerous criminals straight into their communities. They came from prisons and jails and insane asylums and mental institutions from all over the world, not just South America. People think South America. They come from all over the world. They come from every continent. And they came here by plane, and they were loaded onto buses, and they were driven right up to our border, and they drove right through the border, and nobody even said a word to them. And in those buses and those cars and those trucks were some of the meanest criminals anywhere in the world. As of last September, 425,000 illegal alien criminals were roaming free, including 13,099 convicted illegal alien murderers, of which about almost 50% killed more than one person, and they were roaming all over the country in our farms, in our cities. Under the Trump administration, we're moving with urgency and speed to get these vicious and violent criminals the hell out of our country and to restore law and order.
Get them the
to our
hell out of
suburbs,
here.
Our cities and our towns, and we're going to do it with Tom and with Christy and with all of the people that are working so hard on this. This week, compared to a comparable time a year ago, think of this, the number of illegal border crossers has already fallen by more than 100%. And because the election was coming, they started getting a little bit tougher on the border. They tried to follow our policies, and they did much better, but it still was horrible. The numbers were still horrible, so that's 100% over those. They only did it because of the election, so they knew what they were doing.
This hat, man, is $25, man. I've been getting a lot of good reviews for this hat. I'm gonna have to get some of these made, man, and put them in my store. So it has say "Live like a king," man. I'm gonna try to get some that say "Live like a queen." So if y'all like this hat, man, put a #1 in the chat, man. Let's change the subject. Let's get off of the violation. I mean, the violating of same-sex stuff. Let's get away from that. Let's get away from that, please. So if y'all like this hat, man, put a #1 in the chat, man, please.
Was wrong. And those who do cross the border, and you're seeing that every time, all you have to do is turn on your television set or pick up a newspaper, or read any form of new media, because we have a lot of new media today, fortunately, that's letting the word get out. But they're watching these people be captured and removed from our country. ICE arrests have risen by 15 times in just a short period. And over the past 8 days, the heroes of ICE and Border Patrol, we can never forget Border Patrol. Those people, I've gotten to know so many of them. Our border czar, as you remember, never went to the border and never made a phone call. She was the border czar. She never made one phone call. They went to the heads of border. They went to the heads of ICE. Did you ever get a call? No. And she admitted she never made one call, but she was the border czar. And that's exactly what our border was all about. The heroes of ICE have arrested thousands and thousands of illegal alien criminals, including hundreds of gang members, traffickers, child predators, terrorists, and murderers. For the first time in history, we're loading dangerous and illegal aliens into military aircraft and flying them back to the places from which they came. You probably read about Colombia 2 days ago. They said, no, we're not taking them. I said, we're going to take them. You're going to take them. You're going to like it, too. You're going to take them.
You know what I'm saying? Colombia was like, man, you ain't taking it. Man, tariffs. And tear up your ass.
They talked about we're not going to take people that are in shackles. I said, well, but the people that are in shackles are murderers. They're drug lords. They're rapists. They're very tough people. They make our...
Appreciate you, Amanda. Pick that little boy up. Keep him a boy. Don't let him change. Don't change him. We need good men out here. All right?
Criminals look like very nice people. That's about the only thing that comes out of this. And I say, could you imagine you're a pilot on the plane and you have your co-pilot and you're sitting there and you have 150 people, no shackles, and they like to murder people? This would not be a good flight. So Colombia apologized to us profusely within an hour based on something I said, meaning you're going to pay tariffs like nobody's ever paid tariffs before, but they actually wanted to terminate his position. They're essentially Congress met and they were very angry with them, but they actually said they were going to send the presidential plane to pick up these criminals and to bring them because they didn't want to inconvenience us or have us do a second flight, and that's what they did. And I appreciate it, and I do appreciate the people of Colombia are wonderful people, and the representatives really acted well, and I appreciated they took back that tough talk. But, you know, we may have tough talk from others, but it's not going to mean anything. They're going to all take them back, and they're going to like it, too. They're going to like it. They're going to take it back, and they're going to like it. Today, I'm also signing an executive order to instruct the Departments of Defense and Homeland Security to begin preparing the 30,000-person migrant facility at Guantanamo Bay. Most people don't even know about it. We have 30,000 beds in Guantanamo to detain the worst criminal illegal aliens threatening the American people. Some of them are so bad we don't even trust the countries to hold them because we don't want them coming back, so we're going to send them out to Guantanamo.
Yeah,
This will
send
double
their
our
ass to
capacity
Guantanamo.
immediately, right? And tough. That's a tough place to get out of. Today's signings bring us one step closer to eradicating the scourge of migrant crime in our communities once and for all. And it was just it's just an unforced error that we even have to be doing this. Now we need Congress to provide full funding for the complete and total restoration of our sovereign borders, as well as financial support to remove record numbers of illegal aliens. And these are illegal alien killers, criminals at levels that nobody's ever seen before. And you would have known that, and you were there when I said it. I said everybody that's bad is going to be thrown. If you look at Venezuela, Venezuela's crime is down 77% because they've taken their gang members, their prisoners, their drug dealers, their drug lords. They've shipped them all into the United States. Many other countries, their crime is way down, and our crime is
going
not
up.
Doing well. But we're going to have it do really well very soon, and we're shipping all these people back where they came from. And now, before I sign the Laken Riley Act into law, I would like to ask Laken's really incredible mother I've gotten to know. A very sad day I got to know her. But this is an amazing tribute to an amazing young person. And if you could come up, Allison.
Hold on. Hold on. Somebody said something. Sneeze Wax say, I don't think one person in this chat can explain what a tariff is. Well, then you explain it then, Sneeze Wax. Since you think everybody in here don't know what a tariff is. Tariff is taxing. It's taxing other countries. They got to pay a tax to send their goods over here. Like, we ain't gonna keep being violated and these countries sending their goods over here and thinking they can just sell it over here without being taxed. So you explain it. That's my definition of a tariff. Sneeze Wax. Come on, let us read your chat, your text, and explain to us what a tariff is, since you're just so smart. No offense, though.
And say a few words, that would be great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Trump. We would like to thank Senator Katie Britt for her diligent bipartisan work to get this bill through the Senate. We'd also like to thank Congressman Mike Collins for his unwavering passion and for leading on the Laken Riley Act from the start. Our family will forever be grateful for the prayers of the people across our nation and for helping to get this legislation into law. We also want to thank President Trump for the promises he made to us. He said he would secure our borders and that he would never forget about Laken.
And tariff in other countries gonna see that, and they gonna comply with what we talking about. So that's gonna bring prices down. So you got to tariff some of them hard-headed ass countries, so other countries will see that United States ain't playing. So if you gonna fall in line, you better fall in line right. If not, your ass is gonna get tariffed. So tariffs is a good thing. It make other countries see that the United States ain't playing. So the prices might go up for a little bit for certain things, but a lot of things is gonna go down because these people ain't gonna be. They're gonna be like, "Ooh, the United States ain't playing. Let's comply with what they talking about." So tariffs do help.
And he hasn't. He's a man of his word. We trust that he will fight for the American people. Most importantly, I want to thank our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, because without his sacrifices, Lakin's story would have ended on that horrific day that she was taken from us. But because
And if they counter with their own tariffs, we just shut them all the way down. We don't need your damn goods. We'll make it over here. Everybody want to do business in America. So you can counter tariff if you want to. Who tariffs is gonna be higher? Who gonna outlast us in the tariff game? You know what I'm saying?
because of him, we can continue living knowing that we will see Lakin again. There's no amount of change that will ever bring back our precious Lakin. Our hope moving forward is that her life saves lives. We're so thankful that her passion for helping others and her legacy for doing good in the name of Jesus Christ will carry on. Thank you.
Sign this in honor of Lakin Riley.
Okay, y'all be quiet in the chat. He finna sign the Lakin Riley Act. All right.
Come on up here, some of the people that we love that have been so instrumental. Okay? Okay.
Mr. President, government funding, can you take a quick question on government funding, the pause?
I don't think this is appropriate time, really. I respect that, but I don't think it's appropriate. I can just tell you government is doing very well, and we're cutting way back, but this is not the appropriate time. Thank you.
It's done. The new Lakin Riley Act. Damn shame, man. That lady should be here right now. Damn criminal migrants. Damn. They so happy. They are happy, man. By the time somebody put their damn foot down, I'm talking about. Yep, man. But I enjoyed the chats, man. Everybody had their opinions, man. It was fun. I appreciate everybody, man. Y'all hit that subscribe button, man. If y'all had fun in here in this chat, man, and we was getting it in. Everybody was talking about what they believe, what they don't believe, tariffs, people being violated, and all kind of different things going on. You know what I'm saying? We had Robert F. Kennedy getting grilled by the Senate, but I think he's going to push through. You know what I'm saying? That was just day one. You know, he had a bunch of butterflies. He was nervous. He was nervous at first, but then he got it. You know, he got it going. But countries on the path to success, man. We getting these criminal aliens out of here first. You know what I'm saying? Then we'll deal with whatever comes after that. You know what I'm saying? So it's looking a lot better than the last 4 years. 4 years was terrible. A bunch of pardons thrown around and people getting away with crimes and all kind of stuff. So, yeah, the country is looking up, man. The country is looking up, man. We got the left, they tripping. We got the right, they doing their thing, man. So now we got 4 years of this. Like I say, man, hopefully everything will go well for this country, man. I live in this country, and I wish nothing but the best for the country. Whether you guys don't, whoever don't, and live in this country and don't think it's going to be a good thing, you're going to have to suffer through 4 years of being disgruntled with the Trump deranged syndrome. People still calling Trump a felon. Those felony convictions, man, they put that on that man. And everybody that tried to do something to Trump, now the camera is being turned back on they dumb asses. Now they all scared. Ooh, Trump he gonna have retribution and all this stuff. Like, that man ain't worried about y'all. His retribution is gonna be success. You know what I'm saying? We got a leader who know how to lead. He don't give a damn about what he say to you. He say what he feel, and that's what we need, man. We don't need people that's going to sit up here and lie to us in our face. Everything Trump says is not true, but a lot of it is. The main things that we need to know and the things that we need transparency on, this is what's going to happen in the next 4 years. So common sense, man, rules the world. Basically, man, that's all I got to say, man. But I appreciate everybody for tapping in, man. Y'all protect yourself, man, at all times, man. Keep y'all head on the swivel, man. You know what I'm saying? God bless you. God bless me, man. And God bless America. I'm going to come back live, man, a little bit later on. Like I said, I appreciate y'all. And I'm up out of here, man. Get that woke bullshit up out of here. We ain't about to send $50 million to Gaza for condoms. None of that crap. But yeah, man, Caroline Levitt, she did a good thing yesterday, man. Her first day on the job, she was really she was extraordinary, man. It was better than seeing Karine Jean-Pierre, whatever that damn lady is that was on the Biden administration, lying to everybody every day. But yeah, man, I appreciate y'all, man. All right. I'm up out of here, man. Mr. Zach Reacts. Y'all have a blessed day. May God protect you guys in all endeavors. Man, take care of them kids, man. Take care of yourself. Take care of your family.